that shape our community. We know people have short memories. And as long as this Black Talk radio station is on the air, we will not let Altadena be forgotten. We are honored to announce that the Altadena Historical Society will officially archive our recent town hall alongside every episode of Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr. This is the show of record, the definitive source for tracking Altadena's roots, resilience, recovery, and reunion. These stories will now live on for students, scholars, researchers, and journalists seeking truth and legacy in the months and years to come. Because history isn't just made, it's honored, it's recorded, and it's passed forward. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.
Welcome in. Happy Tuesday. You are locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. And it's Tuesday. We're going to, vibe with you like it's the weekend, like we're kicked back. So get your snacks, a beverage, and get ready to get into these trending topics and headlines that we have for you this evening. So, Andy's always on theme. Therefore, Mary J. Blige is on the agenda this evening. And this story is kind of interesting. It's crazy to me, in fact, because Misa Hylton, who is a longtime friend of Mary J. Blige, like a BFF, like Mary and Misa go back to the Uptown days. Misa Hylton is Justin's mother. He of Justin Combs, i.e. Diddy's son. And these two were good friends. She styled Mary for a very long time. And now she's suing her for $5 million behind a business betrayal. So we're going to get into that. We are also going to talk a little, we talk about music a great deal on this show. And we talk about what it takes to make an artist in this current era, how artists can improve, how they are tackling the new challenges, and in an interesting kind of reveal, a pullback of the curtain, Coco Jones, who has a new album that just dropped, was hit with an interesting conversation when she pulled up on The Breakfast Club recently. So we're going to get into the details of that and kind of talk about how much awareness is it realistic for artists to have as far as the outside tentacles of their career. We'll get more into that soon enough. And of course, we're talking about Beyoncé. The Cowboy Carter tour kicked off last night right here in LA. And if you were on Instagram, you saw details, you saw footage, you saw costumes, you saw performances, you saw who was in the building rocking their best country glamour swag. And we're going to get into the details of that, Andy.
I was able to hear it too.
Right. From your house. Is that a bonus or does that get old? Like,
me personally, I love it. Sometimes you can hear it. Sometimes you can make out the song. Sometimes you can't. Mm-hmm. But, I'm a youngster, so I don't mind. But I know the old folks, they be hating it.
Man, one time when I can't remember what festival was at, SoFi.
Rolling Loud.
No, it was something. Was it Rolling Loud? Where I don't know. I live like miles not like hella miles, but far enough from SoFi, and I could hear it at my house, and I'm like, what's going on? So I know the neighbors around there had to be complaining, and there were so many complaints.
Crazy thing is that the community they provide, I don't know if it was the staff from Rolling Loud, because that's the last festival that I could think of. They had put like not brochures, but like pamphlet kind of thingies on the doorknobs. I don't know how you, like flyers.
Right.
Kind of like expressing like, hey, we're here for the next 3 days. There's going to be some noise, so don't be alarmed. But regardless of it, people were still complaining.
I mean, I'm sure there's a difference between the expected levels and the actuals. Like, I was confused. I thought one of my neighbors was having a party. And then I saw on one of those Nextdoor or neighborhood app, one of them, and people were just complaining going all the way down. I was like, wow, that is nuts. At any rate, we're going to get into some trending topics and headlines when we come forward, because we have so very much to discuss. And of course, I'll have a couple of conversation starters, because there are things happening, things moving that we got to get into. So all of that and more, you're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're riding with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. If you missed our KBLA Talk 1580 Town Hall, the Altadena Eden Fire, 100 Days and Counting, you missed an evening of reverence, reflection, and reality.
You gotta live in the reality, because this is it. Every day, you wake up, is this my life? Don't stay in denial, because yes, it is. Don't stay in bargaining, where you're praying for a miracle, and if it wouldn't have happened, then this is what I would have done. It did.
Our panel participants kept it real. Really real.
I think, number one, it's amazing to me how we ignore systemic racism in our community, and as a people, we've apologized for so much, but when will we stop apologizing for what we have paid for? Because the truth of the matter is, we paid for this.
You can always count on KBLA Talk 1580 to give it to you straight, no chaser. When you love folk, you tell them the truth. Seeking the truth, speaking the truth. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we don't black down.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Individual results may vary. Consult a doctor prior to use.
If you've struggled to lose weight in the past, this important message is for you, because you could lose as much as 50 pounds or more with Zelfie. Zelfie makes it easy and affordable to get weight loss treatment 100% online. Zelfie providers can prescribe FDA-approved GLP-1 weight loss medications clinically shown to help people lose weight, like Wegovy, Zepbound, and others. Plus, help get the medication covered by insurance, so it's as little as $0 a month.
The doctors are super helpful, and the meds have been a game changer. It's the first program I've had success with.
Before Zelfie, I was unable to lose weight, even though I was eating healthy and exercising 6 days a week. Zelfie helped me not only lose weight, but I feel so much better.
Text GOAL to 200-300 to get started today with Zelfie and see if weight loss medications like Wegovy or Zepbound are right for you. Don't wait. Text now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text GOAL to 200-300. That's GOAL to 200-300. GOAL to 200-300.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Worried about eviction? You have rights, and Stay Housed LA can help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between LA County, the City of Los Angeles, and local service providers. From Lancaster to Long Beach, we're here to help you with tenant education workshops, legal clinics, free legal services for eligible tenants, and online resources about tenant protection laws. Don't face eviction alone. Call our hotline at 1-888-694-0040. That's 1-888-694-0040. Or visit stayhousedla.org. Stay Housed LA, keeping Los Angeles residents in their homes. Stay Housed LA, your rights, your home, our community. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more entertainment news with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back in. You're locked into KBLA Talk 1580 with Jill Munroe. Now, before we get into these trending topics and headlines, you know how we do it. 800-920-1580 if you want to get into the conversation. Hit us up on social media. KBLA 1580. Of course, I am at Stiletto Jill. There's an app. Download it. Take us with you on the go. And if you're into YouTube and you want a visual to match this audio experience, hop on YouTube. The chat is already active and going. So, join us. There's lots of ways for you to connect.
Yeah,
Andy?
because if you're trying to see Jill and her braids, tap into YouTube.
Why are we bringing up her braids?
I'm just reading the chat. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the chat.
Shout out to the chat. I haven't read what the chat is saying yet, but we'll get to that. Of course, it's Tuesday, so I'd like to welcome in. I'm not breaking down these trending topics alone. Nick Hamilton of Nightcast Media. Welcome in, Nick. How are you this evening?
What's good? What's good? You got the poetic justice braids, or which braids you got this time? You rocking?
They're a little smaller than poetic justice. We're in there.
Right.
She got the skin tone action popping right now. You feel me? The blonde.
Somebody.
We did go a little blonde, a little copper. We're giving summer vibes, very much sun-kissed.
She looking real LA. She got the hoop earrings and all that.
I mean, you know what it is. You know how
birthday
we do.
coming up.
Man. So, Nick, I'm glad you're here because, of course, I would like to know your thoughts on Shedeur Sanders and where he went and some of the fallout that we've heard about that has come of that before we get into these other topics.
Well, I think, first of all, he did get shafted to a degree. I think he wasn't a fifth-round pick. I think I predicted him to go in the third or fourth round because I thought that's how good he was. Most people that are trying to cry collusion don't watch film, don't understand the tape, and don't watch tape. But it doesn't take anything away. I think he's a good quarterback. But the NFL sent the message, hey, I have to agree with Damian Woody. You're not that guy. You could possibly be that guy, but how will you overcome this adversity? And I don't think Deion Sanders or Shedeur did themselves any favors by acting the way they've acted as far as approaching the draft, how they handled the draft, leading up to the draft with interviews and, talking to various coaches that didn't give them a very high grade. Because of how he conducted himself. And so, it's one thing to believe that you're legendary, but you have not shown that. Shedeur Sanders has not won either one of his conferences, whether he was at Jackson State, the Pac-12 when he first came to Colorado, the Big 12 when he came to Colorado. He never won any of his conferences. He was eighth in Heisman voting. Now, his friend and, player in Travis Hunter, he's a Heisman Trophy winner. He got a little bit more to boast about. But he wasn't the best quarterback. He was never a first-round pick. He's probably the third best quarterback in the draft this year. I had two other quarterbacks. Obviously, number one went Cam Ward, which was obviously by a country mile. But, Shedeur's going to have to figure out, is this what he really wants to do? And he's going to have to really divorce himself away from his dad and grow up and be the quarterback that he desires to be.
Whoa. What do you mean grow up? Because, I mean...
He's going to have to grow up. This is what I said. He's going to have to grow up.
What is shown that he's... Hold on.
He can't have daddy hold his hand.
Hold on. In what capacity, outside of him playing on the team with his dad, is his dad holding his hand? If
he's going to have to be... Mm-hmm.
So... And we've talked about this with Bronny, right? And everyone loved or halfway loved nepotism then when LeBron may or may not have interfered. If you have a world-class athlete, NFL Hall of Famer in your home, right? I am not saying that he has to step by step, but what points do you feel were handheld for Shedeur, especially during this process?
He gave him a false sense of reality. He didn't let him know that there are going to be people out there that are going to come after him. And since they can't come directly after him, they're going to go through him. So he's got to make sure he arrives to meetings on time. He's got to make sure that he watches film. He watches the tape, knows how to talk football. But also, too, you can't have your dad talking about, well, if we don't feel Shedeur is the right fit, we're not going to try out for that particular team. That's not what you say. This is the NFL.
Well, but no one had a problem when Arch Manning did it. No one had a problem when other players have sort of dictated where they would or would not play. I'm just saying.
Okay. Well, all the prime sexuals that like to bring that up, I will happily be like, first of all, you're not
Are you calling me a prime sexual?
No,
I just want to be clear.
No, if
Okay.
I've heard a lot of the prime sexuals echo those same sentiments. Okay, what I'm saying is this: you're not Arch Manning. Okay, you're not.
Deion
Your son
Sanders
is
is
not
not
Eli.
okay, but I'm just
No,
Deion Sanders, right? We don't, as you said, we don't know, right? We don't know yet. We don't know
Jill.
what he ultimately will become once he gets.
Watch
How
the
many?
tape.
Let me ask you this: how many number one picks over the last
You
few
can't-
years have been in the Super Bowl?
But you can't.
How
but
many?
How
How
many?
many?
How many? Oh, wait, hold on, back it up.
I'm just
Before we
saying
answer that,
because
back
if
it
we're
up.
talking about
No.
where we
Because
are
you're
and
trying
what
to
is
paint-
proven,
You're trying
and
to paint
coverage.
it. You're
I'm
trying
asking
to
a
paint
question.
the same narrative that
I'm asking a
and I'm
question.
telling you.
Okay.
And I'm saying you're painting the same narrative that everybody else is painting when it comes to Shador.
I'm just
Nobody
asking
wants to
questions.
talk about the fact. Hold on, I understand that, but we didn't finish the previous point. You
Okay.
asked, you said about Deion Sanders and Archie Manning. I was beginning to explain to you that the differences between Archie Manning and Deion Primetime Sanders.
Okay.
First of all, this is the NFL. We know how the NFL is. You are not Archie Manning. Your son is not Eli Manning. So you can't go into here knowing how these people think, knowing what the perceptions could and could not be. You have to go in there and say, I'm not turning down anything. Now, if you don't want to go to a particular team, fine, keep that in-house. We always run our mouths way too much and give up the game before it's time to give up the game. You could have, if Shador would have went in the same way that Cam Ward went in and worked out. And mind you, look how it worked out for him. Even though Cam Ward is a much better quarterback, but he wasn't going into it with this attitude like I'm not going to work out for you. I'm going to trick off the opportunity. He didn't go into it like that. So there is a bit of resentment when it comes to coming in, because you're not going to tell these upper management people and these owners what you're not going to do. We've seen that time and time again. So why is it all of a sudden different? To compare Archie Manning to Deion Sanders is night and day. It makes no sense. It's kind of a silly argument.
No, it makes sense
kind
from
of
the
a silly
fact that,
argument.
but
No,
no,
it does
why
not
it's
make sense.
let me tell you why. Hold
does
on.
not.
Let me tell you why.
Okay.
Why does it not make sense? If he is a former NFL athlete, right, that has sons that are, and I understand the skill level is different. I am not opposed to Shador not going in the first or second round. However, let's not act like there's this extreme gap, right, for Shador's ceiling. Let's not act like he did not do some things in the conference, even though he didn't win. Andy's looking at me crazy. Yeah. But I'm just saying, we act like, right, that it is all of a sudden now he is just this complete deficit as a player. We knew that there were some holes. We knew that there were some things to be worked on, right? But we were all for Deion and his leadership style and what he does for young men and that guidance. But now all of a sudden it's too much. I'm just asking the question.
Okay, well, let me give you an answer. It is too much because you got to know when to back off. It's called balance. You got to know when to press and when to back off. And the thing about it is, with the things that Deion has done for kids off the field, as far as opening the bank accounts as an example and teaching them about financial literacy, all hats off to him. But when it comes in within those hash marks of the football field, that's what we're talking about. I'm not saying I don't like the Shador's confidence. I'm glad the young man is confident. But also, let's put it into perspective, confidence means nothing if you can't perform out there on that field. And that's what the NFL is about. The NFL is a talent-based business.
And I'm not saying it's not, but let me ask you, but they don't, but in rounds 3 and 4, et cetera, are they looking for you to change, or are they drafting on potential anyway? Because as I just said, how many of the last few top draft picks have been in the Super Bowl?
Like I said, I have to go look.
One.
To be honest, I don't have it in front of me. Thank you.
But
however, we're talking about, hold on. But we're talking about, like I said, 3rd and 4th round picks. You don't know what you're getting, but you do believe that this person could potentially change your franchise or help change your franchise, I should say. So the thing about it is, they let them know in so many circumstances. Like I said, he was shafted. I'm not sitting up here acting like
even if he wasn't if you
shafted.
consider him a game manager, you don't think down there some of those teams couldn't have used that?
No.
Okay.
I think he was better than Dylan Gabriel. I think he's better than Dylan Gabriel. Yes. Do I think he's better than Shalom? Yes. That New Orleans drafted? Absolutely, by far. That's why I said he was the third best quarterback in this draft. But you can't sit up here and act like we're going to feel sorry for Shador or there's collusion involved. And I'm hearing all these other terminologies that don't even make freaking sense.
So I think when you say collusion, at least for me, do I think they were literally sitting in a room or passing around messages, don't draft Shador, no. But I think that there have been conversations off and on and for different reasons. Oh, we need to put Deion in his place. Oh, I don't want Deion in my franchise. I have questions about his talent. So, I mean, I'm using the term loosely and not in its correct to the letter definition. I am not saying that they sat there and sat in a room and made plans, but I do think that a little bit behind the scenes, there's a lot of let's humble him, a lot of maybe we'll see, and a lot of I push back and what you're doing, and we want culture, we want the attention. I mean, come on, look at the NFL's page. Who had the most views or likes on those pictures that were up from there? Probably one of the highest. I can't remember the exact numbers, and they may have shifted. Was the 144th pick,
right?
And they highlighted it.
The sad part about it is we talk more about the 105th round pick than we talked about the first round pick. That's the sad part, and the fact that we're sitting here having a conversation about a 5th round pick that hasn't performed not one down, that hasn't shown anything on the professional level, not once. And the thing about it is this: I don't know if Shador is going, because he has a lot of holes. Okay, he has a lot of holes. All right, he's going to have to really buckle down, and he's going to have to calm down, and he's going to have to focus in. If he really wants to lead a team like he believes he can, he's going to have to watch film. He's going to have to get with the coordinators. He's going to maybe have to hire a quarterbacks coach to help him get ready, because Joe Flacco is not going to last that long. Joe Flacco is 172 years old. Okay, we all know it's going to be down to the wire when it comes to battling out between Dylan Gabriel and Shador Sanders in Cleveland. Okay, so he's going to have to buckle down. The same thing we said we had knocks about Jaden Daniels last year. What did Jaden Daniels do? Get in the film room, get with Cliff Kingsbury, who's an outstanding offensive coordinator, and look what Jaden Daniels produced last year. Because why? He put in the work. He wanted to put in the work. And I'm not saying that Shador doesn't. It just doesn't strike me like he's 100% all in. I think he likes the hype. I think he likes what comes with it. But I'm not sure if he truly loves the game like we've all been foretold that he loves the game. I don't know that. I have not seen evidence. I can't say that about Cam Ward. I have very little reservations about Cam Ward.
All right.
I have very little reservations about Jackson Dart. But I do have a lot of reservations about, it has nothing to do with his confidence. It has nothing to do with him wearing Flavor Flav looking chains. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with what he does in between the hash marks. And if you watch the tape, like most of these media pundits and most of these prime sexuals and these fans do, they don't watch the tape and they don't know how to break down the tape, because the tape doesn't lie. It tells you exactly where his flaws are and that they are correctable if he wants to correct them.
All right. Well, we will leave it there.
Jill, what I tell you yesterday?
Something similar.
Something very similar. I told you. I'm sure a lot of these people. I'm sure a lot of these people that have been in support of Shador probably did not watch not one game the whole season. But because they're Deion Sanders fans and because that's his son, we're gonna support off the rip regardless. But you did not watch his skills on that field. Yes, he was the most accurate, but did that translate to victories?
Well, I watched that young man 4 times in person, and I watched a lot of his games. You can see the flaws. That's all I'm going to say. And that's what I told other people. I was there in person several times.
All right.
Good quarterback, but not great.
We're going to leave that there.
And it doesn't mean that he's not going to be successful in the NFL. Let's just put that out there. Shout out to Shador, Cleveland Browns. Right. Let's support and watch.
The story's still to be told. Well, listen, quickly, we're going to start this, and then hold over the rest. Look, Mary J. Blige, this story is giving no more drama in theory, but a whole lot of drama in practice, right? So, as I mentioned, Mary and Misa, really, really good friends. And now Misa is suing her for $5 million, right? Misa Hylton Brim. Well, no, she's just Misa Hylton now. She's divorced. Is considered a fashion architect, an icon for the street style that she put forward, the designs that she did that layered in the early bad boy days look, the things that we associated. So it's her and her agency, Misa Management. And according to court documents filed in New York, Mary allegedly blocked her artist, Misa's artist and Mary's, album, tour, and revenue stream to force him out of a signed management contract with Misa's team. Now, the alleged sabotage went down when Mary got him to parties on yachts, hotel meetups, and industry events that reportedly excluded Misa, the company, and Misa, the individual. And allegedly, they are alleging, I should say, Misa, that Mary's own head of security, described in the suit as Mary's boyfriend, allegedly tried to poach Vado with a new deal, advising him to ditch legal counsel. So Misa says Mary even texts Vado saying she'd never release his album or let him tour as long as he stayed with Misa. They're calling it career interference, emotional distress, and economic servitude. Nick, real quick, what are your thoughts?
Wow, the downfall of Puffy, huh? These two, we used to be best friends for what my understanding, and now we've come to this. I mean, it's a crazy world. I think, he's trying to maybe go to the highest bidder, or maybe Mary saw a business opportunity. I don't know. But where's the loyalty? Like, what happened to the friendship? What happened to the loyalty? I guess they went out the window. But it's sad to see these two going at it. I don't know if this is going to be strong enough to stand in court. Maybe they settle out of court and go their separate ways. I don't know. But it's just a lot of unnecessary drama based upon what you read, that conversations can be had. Sounds like two women scoring. Unfortunately, one is mad at the other one's mad at them. And it seems to me this goes deeper than a lawsuit. It could be, something happened with their friendship or what have you. I don't know. But it seems to be a little bit deeper than just a business lawsuit to me. It's too bad. It's really sad.
When we come forward, we'll get into more details. We want to thank Nick Hamilton for locking in with us. We have more trending topics and headlines on the other side. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're in the know with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. The Department of Justice found no misconduct by FEMA in a probe into alleged anti-Trump bias by black employee Marnie Washington after Hurricanes Milton and Helene. The review showed no wider issue. A Florida lawsuit was settled. A former officer took the stand in Tyree Nichols' case, admitting to using pepper spray and a baton. 3 former Memphis cops are charged in Nichols' 2023 death. The trial is expected to run 2 weeks. Michelle Obama says President Trump's immigration stance still keeps her up at night. In a podcast, she said she fears for people of color and often thinks about what life feels like for those constantly targeted. And Malcolm X's restored home in Inkster, Michigan, where he converted to Islam and changed his name, opens to the public next month. It features key elements, including the original bathtub used for cleansing rituals. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
In Mission Hills, 118 westbound before Sepulveda Boulevard, there's a crash blocking the 3 left lanes. It has traffic stopped from the 5 freeway. Hawthorne with trouble on the 105 eastbound before Prairie Avenue. That's a broken down car. It's in the middle lane and it's causing a slow drive from the 405. In Glendale on the 134 westbound before Pacific Avenue, that crash blocks the right lane.
Joe Buck and John Smoltz welcoming you back to the City Center Convenience Mart. Uh-oh. She's looking at the cigarettes, but she just grabs the gum off the counter. Stand Up to Cancer and Rally want you to reduce your risk for cancer. Go to takeahealthystand.org. Is this the takeover?
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
I'm a bad man. Critical game for the Clippers tonight in Denver. It's Game 5 of their first-round series against the Nuggets. The series is tied at 2 games apiece in the best of 7. Clippers coach Ty Lue needs to come up with something in his game plan to deal with Nuggets center Nikola Jokic. In the 4 games, Jokic is averaging a triple-double, 28.5 points, 13.5 rebounds, and 10.8 assists. The Clippers have no players on their injury list, which means Kawhi Leonard is healthy. The Clippers will not get past the Nuggets without Leonard. Leonard has been brilliant in the series, averaging 26 points and shooting 56%. 7 p.m. tip-off tonight on TNT. Shaquille O'Neal has agreed to become the general manager at Sacramento State University. Shaq will help run the school's men's basketball program. Shaq's son, Shakir, transferred to Sac State from HBCU, Florida A&M. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
When the flames subside, who ensures that the stories endure? At KBLA Talk 1580, we're committed to preserving the voices that shape our community. We know people have short memories, and as long as this Black Talk radio station is on the air, we will not let Altadena be forgotten. We are honored to announce that the Altadena Historical Society will officially archive our recent town hall alongside every episode of Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr. This is the show of record, the definitive source for tracking Altadena's roots, resilience, recovery, and reunion. These stories will now live on for students, scholars, researchers, and journalists seeking truth and legacy in the months and years to come. Because history isn't just made, it's honored, it's recorded, and it's passed forward. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.
Looking for a purposeful and passionate way to make a difference in your community? Volunteer with our Senior Medicare Patrol and help prevent Medicare fraud. S&P volunteers work in their community educating peers about healthcare fraud and how to prevent and detect it. Free training starts soon. Check us out online or at an S&P open house near you. We're on a mission to stop fraud. Join our team. You make a difference. Visit caspvolunteer.org. Protect yourself from Medicare card scams. Scammers may call, email, or even knock on your door claiming they need your Medicare info, asking for money or threatening to cancel your benefits. Don't fall for it. It's a scam. Remember, Medicare doesn't need to verify your information. They already have it. Medicare won't charge you for a new card and will never threaten to cancel benefits. Check your Medicare statements for suspicious charges and report scams to the California Senior Medicare Patrol at 1-855-613-7080. We're here to help.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about. KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Los Angeles Regional Food Bank is on a mission to fight hunger and provide nutritious food to those in need across our community. They partner with federal, state, and local programs advocating for better policies and funding for critical hunger relief programs like Cal Fresh, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, and the Child and Adult Care Food Program. The food bank works with coalitions and local representatives to make sure hunger is addressed in every district of LA County. They also run nutrition education campaigns, raise hunger awareness, and source nutritious food for distribution, all while supporting regulations that allow food pantries to operate safely. Want to help? Visit lafoodbank.org or call 323-234-3030 to volunteer or find a food bank near you. Together, we can ensure that no one goes hungry in Los Angeles County. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, 24 hours in a day, and the first thing y'all do is start hating. Couldn't be me, I'm by my breach, in my sleep getting paid. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wanna fight me over my, hey, once he tastes this, you might as well let that go. He feeling a pimp, he know still in the drip. He know that these gon' hate. He know that you want him cause you know he fucking with me. And he ain't taking the bait. Make no mistake, just as I'm cute in this, don't mean I won't run in your
in. You were locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. That's Whatever, Megan Thee Stallion's new single. We're always on theme here. You'll make the connection with that in a second. So listen, Andy was just saying that he wasn't aware that Megan dropped a new single and video last week. There was some social media buzz about who she could potentially be taking shots at in the song because she's saying some things about a friend, doing some sideways stuff. I mean, it could just be conjecture for a song, but people feel like it's aimed at someone. Being that, as it may, I thought that the fact that Megan got on live and talked about her single and something that happened at the Breakfast Club recently, I thought it was a good time to kind of talk about this. So Coco Jones has dropped a new album. We know Coco played Hillary on the reimagined Bel-Air, which, is the update of, or reboot, I should say, of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And Coco is the daughter of an NFL player. She's currently dating, what is Cleveland Cavs star? There you go. That's her boo, right? So they're in a couple, right? So Coco's in good space, and she dropped a new album, which is, kind of fire. But when she went up to the Breakfast Club, she was not confronted, that's the wrong word. Charlemagne, when she walked in the room, and it was a choice for them to release this portion of the video, let her know that he had asked to reschedule her interview because the record label didn't send her full album to them until 7:45 that morning. The Breakfast Club goes on air at 5 a.m. So he had this to say about the label and why he felt it was important. And I bring this up and connect it to Megan because we know Megan is now independent. And she got on her Instagram Live and she was saying how, she seemed a little disappointed in a way that her single was not being really received that well from the hotties. And she was like, we got to do something, hotties. I'm not really sure what. And she said that she might record a video about it later. She felt that she couldn't articulate the words on live. She seemed like she might be a little emotional, but she mentioned that she probably wasn't going to drop Act 3, which would be her third official album, until 2026. Originally, she was thinking of dropping it this year. She said she would continue to drop music, but I think she is, trying to find her sound and find her way independently. And so it's interesting. People talk about go independent, do it yourself. And I've mentioned this a little bit with Chris Brown, how at points I feel like he could have done with a good A&R to kind of pare down his art. But then on the other side, you have someone like Megan who is independent now. And I think she needs to work with different producers because with her cadence, I don't feel that they're necessarily the right beats and the songs don't seem distinctive enough. But she's struggling a bit with that. And so it's difficult. So I want to, one, play what Charlemagne had to say, and let's kind of look through those points because it is an interesting time to be an artist. There are pros and cons to being with a label. We've talked about how labels really aren't what they used to be. More so now they're more distribution houses, and how much involvement do they really have as it relates to artist development and really, getting in there and shaping you as an artist? And how much do you suffer from that? And Megan is someone who is obviously in the upper echelon as far as our female rappers, but your favorite guy, Jerry, that's academics, he said that Megan is not on the same tier as a Cardi B or Doja Cat or even Glorilla because she can't find a hit and she doesn't have enough consistency. Now, while I don't necessarily agree with that, I do think there is something to be said about Megan being a superstar for the lifestyle component and what she represents. And even though we know she can spit, right now she's having a hard time finding her music. So let's hear what Charlamagne had to say in relations to Coco Jones.
Coco got a new album. It's your debut album.
It's my first album ever, yeah.
Why not more? I'm gonna tell you right now, Def Jam don't care about you.
Oh,
and I'm gonna tell you
Christ.
why. I'm gonna tell you why. They sent your album at 7:44 a.m. this morning, and I said no. We should cancel the interview because it's not fair to you as an artist, and it's not fair to us as hosts. And because you know you're sitting here now, and then you know people will be in your face talking to you about everything except for your music, and people will wonder why. Why are they always just focused on the mess? Why are they talking about everything but our music? It's because your label didn't send it until 7:44 this morning. We're doing a show. Who got time to listen to the album?
I hear you.
So yes, that's the reason why. That was the holdup. So I don't know what the label told you, but that was the reason I was like, you know what? Let's cancel the interview.
Dang. So you still want to do it?
Yeah, we're doing it now, but I just like that. Lauren did a crash listen to the album.
Baby, that's why I was rushing for these papers, okay? Because I am a fan. I do feel like you deserve your moment, but it went down how he said it went down.
Yeah,
so we're here.
I didn't get a chance to listen to it. Envy, that's why Envy left. Envy was like, I ain't listen to it. I'm not gonna do it like that.
And he didn't say cancel. He said reschedule. He didn't just say cancel you. He was like, we should reschedule it because that's not fair to either party.
It's not. You don't think? I don't think it's fair to you at all.
So I think that it is something to be said about, you know, what the machine is supposed to do for you. We struggle sometimes whether or not it does. But when you're kind of out on your own and trying to find your sound, your connection with your audience is your lifeline. Now, we know Megan also just announced that she opened up a new Popeyes. That was part of the deal she had with the Popeyes boxes that she put together and the sauces. She got some franchises in that. So she's finally about to open one of those. So she has business ventures and other things that are popping. She obviously had a tour that went really well. She had Glorilla on that tour. I think Glow picked up some performance things from her. But where is the music, or what's happening with the music right now? Andy?
I think there's a handful of things, right? When it comes to hip-hop artists, a lot of the time, she's dropped over maybe 3-4 albums already. Your momentum starts to kind of dwindle a little bit. So I don't know if people are actually all the way even checking for her. Number two, I think this might be a little bit of blowback from, you know, the whole situation with her performing, you know, for Kamala Harris. You know, and
you think it's related to that?
I think a lot of it is. And even the whole Tory Lanez situation.
I definitely think Tory a little bit.
I think she's gotten some haters over the years where, you know, maybe some people have decided not to be a fan of Megan Thee Stallion. And then number three, I mean, you make a good point with her being independent now, because your hustle just got to be a little bit more stronger. Maybe she needs to have a better team. You know what I'm saying? She's over here talking about, I need to make a video. That video should have been done before the album dropped, in my opinion. I think she should have made more appearances.
No. She made a video for whatever. She dropped the video. No, she's saying maybe she needed to make a video to articulate her feelings about sort of the reactions of the fans and how the music is being received and what's happening with that.
Don't do that.
She dropped the video and people are like, oh, Megan's, you know, kind of the thing. Megan's sounding a little redundant. Oh, how many times do we have to see her twerk in a video? It's
they turned off by her. That's what it is.
The same thing that we loved her for, I guess, 5 years ago. Now fans are like, man, what else you got?
Consumers can be fickle, though.
They really are.
But I think those are the things that are kind of playing against her or whatnot. But at the same time, I don't know. I'm sure the label has a lot to do with even like radio play being played often. But she should have went like on a tour or something, like a promo tour for her album.
But you got to have money to do that. And so there's no machine behind her. So that is her putting her money into all of that.
I'd like to think, considering who she is, her name, I mean, she should have went on Instagram Live every night or something. I don't know.
Well, we'll have to see what develops. It is an interesting time. One person that doesn't have to worry about that, at least, you know, in her own little way, but she puts in the work, is Beyoncé Knowles Carter. And when we come forward, we're going to get into the details of the Cowboy Carter opening last night here in L.A. All of that and more on the other side. You're locked in with Jill Munroe.
You're riding with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them, the right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I feel so alone.
I'm embarrassed to talk about it.
How can I help my kid if I can't help myself?
I can't remember when I wasn't stressed.
I don't want to.
When you feel overwhelmed by your thoughts and emotions, it's okay to get help. You are not alone. CalHope is here for you with free, safe, and confidential mental health resources for youth, young adults, families, and you. Find support now at calhope.org.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back in. You were locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. So, of course, we talk hip hop. And I don't know, I thought you guys would get a key out of this. So, there's been a lot of talk always about hip hop Mount Rushmores, R&B Mount Rushmores, etc., etc. Well, an unexpected individual has entered the chat with their hip hop Mount Rushmore. Ben Affleck has put out who he feels is a pretty good sampling of who should be on his hip hop Mount Rushmore. So it is Lil Wayne, Eazy-E, Slick Rick, and Kendrick Lamar. So that is an interesting lineup, right? Right. There's some, Lil Wayne, a lot of people won't argue with that. Kendrick, a new entry, fresh. Eazy-E and Slick Rick, you just naming rappers you knew or that you liked when you were a kid back in the day?
It's a nice balance.
It is, but I don't think that realistically.
He's a white boy, so I'm going to give him a pass.
He also gave a shout out to Dr. Dre and Snoop. They got honorable mentions. So, he seems to have a little West Coast bias because other than Slick Rick and Lil Wayne, everybody else is West Coast based.
Where's he from?
Boston, right? Or
Interesting.
I think where is Ben Affleck from? That's a good question.
If he's from Boston, I'm surprised he doesn't like Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch or something.
I might just be making that up. That is where he No, that's a lie. He's from Berkeley.
Oh, that's why. So there goes your West Coast right there.
But so here's my faulty. You're from the Bay and you don't have Tupac? You got Easy over Tupac? You didn't even mention Pac.
But just because he's from the Bay, does he have to mention Pac? I thought you was about to say, you not going to say Too Short or E40?
I mean, yeah, if you want to be real, but I don't think Ben's digging that low. I don't think that he might know Blow the Whistle, but he doesn't know Todd. So what are you saying, Todd? He doesn't know Too Short before he got the teeth fixed. I guarantee that.
You know, when it comes to white people and their selections for songs, I don't think you could expect what you think you would expect. One thing I do know is some of the white folks that I know that like hip hop, they have an eclectic playlist or whatever. They have an eclectic list of songs. You know what I mean? They'll go from a Tech 9 to an Immortal Technique to a Lil Wayne and Kendrick Lamar. So I'm kind of not surprised.
Isn't that like most hip hop fans, unless you're talking about people that are like regional, people that really love the music will, bounce around like that. I mean, now there's some people that are very, I'm Southern biased. Right. I'm an East Coast head. I don't want to hear all of that yin, yang, yang. Some people are very West Coast. What I don't want to hear 100%. As my son manifest and rotate. I want to hear those gangster beats and laid back. I mean, so I feel like having an eclectic collection, don't you? I feel like I do.
I think mine is typical.
What is typical?
Biggie, Pac, Jay-Z, Nas, DMX. The heavyweight, so to speak. That's typical.
As far as you mean your Mount Rushmore, yes. Or the music?
I'm talking Mount Rushmore.
But well, okay.
What's your Mount Rushmore?
I don't know. I really don't. Because one, I say it all the time. I have a very hard time with favorites and one and onlys and narrowing things like that because I like a lot of things. I like a lot of taste. And so it could be, my favorite at this stage of my life when I was here, right? It could be all encompassing, but then there's a lot of things that play into that. Like, I think someone like LL Cool J or Rakim should be on a Mount Rushmore, but
your Mount Rushmore.
Right, but I do like for the culture and things like that, but I don't know if I would take up a space to put them on my Mount Rushmore. That's why things
hilarious.
Like that make it hard for me.
So you feel they deserve a spot.
Right.
But you don't know if they deserve to be on your Mount Rushmore.
Because I don't really know what it is. And like I said, what I feel it might be today, it might not feel like that tomorrow, right? Like, here's my thing. I don't know. Okay, and this is going to be hard for people to think. Biggie would not necessarily be on my Mount Rushmore.
Ooh.
Not because he's not. I just.
Jill, who's your top 5 rappers?
Here we go.
Even better, probably what hip hop albums do you own that you actually went and purchased? I think that plays a factor.
So saying which albums did I purchase is hard for me personally. No. Not because because I used to work at a record store. I worked in the music industry, so I got a lot of free product, which allowed me to sample a lot of stuff. So having said that, Doggy Style is going to be up there. I don't know if Doggy Style or The Chronic, you probably could flip them, but I thought they, game changing, meant a lot or whatever. I would really have to think about it.
Sounds like you got Snoop on your Mount Rushmore.
I probably do. Just because, that like that era things are going to me. I would have had Drake a little bit up there.
Speak on it. Don't be shy. Don't be shy.
I would have had Drake a little bit. I would not have had Kendrick.
You wouldn't have had Kendrick? Drake?
Oh, and obviously, and I like Kendrick. These people are going to think, I love Kendrick. But I don't know. Just because there are some things like that
Jill, you like that? You like pop rap, kind of, sort of, right?
No, I like
that hardcore, gritty.
I do.
Bars.
That's not true. I like it. Listen, Jadakiss might be on my Mount Rushmore. I really have to think about it. Do you know what I'm saying? I really like Mobb Deep. Come on, Shook Ones. That was a moment. So I do. I very much do. I liked back in the day, Brand Nubian and stuff like that. I've liked, the East Siders. So I do have an MJ. I brought up last night. There's a reason why I brought up 8 Ball and MJG. Most MJ, you know what I'm trying to say. I can't talk right now. Most people aren't even talking about that, but sure enough, that's one of my cuts. Most people don't know Tila, early Rap-A-Lot, Po Pimp, and things like that. So I know I'm not just pop rap. I'm just saying, that's why I said it depends on the moment, because for me, there's things like cultural influence, how you move the needle, how you change the game. There are some things that are just flow-based, your song, your catalog, your longevity, and, it shifts.
I'm with you, but those two kind of characteristics that you highlighted, I think if you maybe, bring that towards your standards, it might help develop what you like, or your top 5 or your Mount Rushmore.
I do, but I just say sometimes it moves, because again, I feel like one of those 80s rappers, LL, because LL was the first hip hop sex symbol. He was 16 years old. Radio was a beast, but I don't know. I have to see. I love talking hip hop. Pretty Brown Mimi's like, where's Queen Latifah and MC Lyte? And that's the other thing. I do have some females on the list, but it would be something between like a Latifah and a Little Kim. Culturally impressive and relevant for different reasons. Listen, we could talk hip hop all day. Maybe we'll talk some more about it tomorrow, but you know what it is. Every Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m., we hit these trending topics and headlines. Thank you for tapping in. Up next is Zoe Williams, the voice of reason. I will be back with you guys tomorrow.
We can do it right now. Yeah. Take it out the door. Stomach out, yeah. What about it? Do the talking look this good? Nah, highly doubt it. Real life IG, all the real bad follow me. Locked up, been through a way to keep still stalking me. Out of sight, but still on you, still on mine.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. Former Vice President Kamala Harris will give her first major speech since ending her presidential campaign, speaking Wednesday at Emerge in San Francisco. She'll call out Trump's economic agenda and is expected to